for that presentation. I am sure that consideration has been given to share the presentation with Parliament, so we look forward to receiving that as soon as possible. We received it. Okay, thank you, Prime Minister, for receipt thereof. And Prime Minister, I want to suggest that you go through the answers to the questions so that we can then ensure that the members receive the answers to their questions, and then we will go over to the members of Parliament and allowing members of Parliament to pose any additional questions that they may have. So, Prime Minister, I invite you to now present the answers to the questions asked in the first part of this Central Committee meeting. Prime Minister, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. MP Arendel asked, what are the long-term goals of GEBE to avoid load shedding? I think that in the presentation that was answered. MP Kotai, study was done in 2014 and 2015, where we had to be 80% in renewable energy in 2025. Why no further studies done into what is the best option for alternative energy for country St. Maarten? At this particular moment, the final report from Energy Nautics will support the unified decision-making process that they are still busy with. This report should be ready by the end of June of this year. They are quite advanced already in the vision through Energy Nautics that is working in a close relationship with the World Bank. The second question of MP Kotai is, has there been at least a comparison between the current containerized generation options and on the table and other proposed? The answer is yes. GB has scrutinized every option that we had on the table. Is GB making this decision by taking the first deal on the table, or if the government is taking that, depending on whatever is on the table? GB is a limited liability company and will make the decision and pay for the option chosen. The solutions and situations are discussed, of course, with the shareholder. Question 4. As we are crunching the numbers, there can be cheaper options for the containerized generators and also the time frame to get them here and operational. Answer is GB has internally reviewed options and asked Energy Nautics to review as well. The options chosen have been based on careful consideration of the options, timing, technical, and financial viability. Question 5. The logistics around the load shedding in particular areas affecting certain businesses. Are we able to receive and do our own overview in the logistics on how they decided to load shed in said particular areas, for example in Simpson Bay? During the day, they can operate without electricity for the 2-hour span, but in the night hours they are fully dysfunctional, leading to a severe loss. GB internally decided on the load shedding areas depending on the capacity of the plant and time of the day, starting from Simpson Bay Yacht Club area to and also including the whole Simpson Bay stroke. This location is only load shed during the day, unless there is an untimely power outage. But in principle, at night, it's not planned to take Simpson Bay out of the grid. MP Emmanuel, based on what did the former government give grid market exclusivity to deal with renewable energy? At this particular moment, I showed actually the core sentence in this deal, but it's an agreement that I have encountered since I assumed the responsibility as Prime Minister of this country. That is very short, but at this particular moment we are revising this agreement that has been made with the grid market. Question 2 is, what did the experts from everywhere else...
Prime Minister, just for clarity's sake, I need to interject and ask you, did you say revising or are you reviewing?
No, reviewing.
Thank you.
Yeah, reviewing, sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah, reviewing. What did the experts from everywhere else tell you? What can be done better? MP does not believe anything that comes from GB in terms of a solution. How long do the people of St. Maarten will be experiencing power outages? GB has consulted with Energy Nautics to ensure that the solutions are validated by external experts. The anticipation is that the outages will be solved within 5 to 6 weeks from now. Question 3. How sustainable are the solutions that the government is coming with for this matter, and for how long? Is it a temporary solution? Is it a midterm solution? Or is it a fixed solution without having the dead generators here? The solutions for solving the gap and for the long term are designed to provide stability to the grid. I have presented the immediate, short and long-term solutions with my PowerPoint presentation just now. These short-term solutions are sustainable and only will remain in place until the 3 new units are commissioned. Question 4. Ask the board and the temporary manager who replaces the damaged electrical appliances that is being damaged right now because of load shedding. The solution cannot be by a power surge. What is the plan that GB has to compensate the general public? Customers, the answer is customers can contact a GEBE to have claims discussed. In addition, GB's claim forms are accessible online. This remains a concern for government, and of course we will continue to have the necessary discussions and follow up to ensure claims are handled properly by GEBE. Question 5. Can Prime Minister explain exactly what is the breakdown in the mechanical engineering of generators of GB that today we are experiencing the load shedding? The loss of diesel generator 19 related to the crankshaft and the fire in diesel generator 8 and 9 are the cause of the current shortfall in production capacity. And of course, the generators are encountering a challenge with their lifespan. At the peak rate of megawatts output, how much do we produce? With the current loss of diesel generator 8, 9 and 19, the power plant can produce between 47 to 48. Prior to the loss, the power plant registered a peak demand of 56 megawatt. Presently, based on ongoing load shedding and registered amperage, our preliminary extrapolation indicates that peak demand has seemingly exceeded 57 and could be within the range of 57 to 60. Now, with the generators down, what is being produced right now? Break it down in layman terms so the general public can understand why the load shedding is necessary. A shortfall in capacity dictates that the power plant cannot meet the maximum required demand from the community, utilizing the peak demand of 57 megawatt and a maximum production capacity of between 47 to 48 megawatt. The power plant faces a shortfall of approximately 9 to 10 megawatts. Question 8. Is it true or not true that the chief engineer of GEBE resigned? It was circulating on social media, on Facebook. The recent resignation was from a level A mechanic within the mechanical maintenance department who left due to a more attractive offer he received in Santo Domingo. Question number 9. We have a problem with the crankshaft of one of the engines. How long did GEBE know there was a problem with the crankshaft? Did they inform the former government, and what was done? The crankshaft problem that we are encountering was something that appeared on the 5th of May. Nobody expected a breakdown of the crankshaft at that particular moment, although we realize, of course, that these machines are going on for a while already. MP Marlin. Conversation starting with the 3 generators, each carrying a capacity of 9 megawatts. When was this decision started with Wärtsilä? How long ago was it a decision from DISCOM or taken previously by the management and managing board to purchase these 3 engines? Decisions regarding purchasing Wärtsilä engines, being the 3 times 9 megawatt, is a decision for GEBE. This is a part of the investment in the long term. The process of Wärtsilä is at this particular moment on the go. MP Brug, what are the role and responsibilities of the managing director, supervisory board of directors and the shareholders? The roles and responsibilities of each body are outlined in the company's articles of incorporation. The managing director is the legal representative of the company, and the supervisory board advises and supervises the management board. The shareholder exercises the shareholders' rights. Should you require any of these documents, I will be happy to provide them for you. What types of information of each sector are PV2? The supervisory board can request as much information as deemed necessary in order to supervise and advise. The shareholder during a shareholder meeting is entitled to annual reports outlining management's business affairs during the past financial year, financial statement, and the possibilities of discharging the supervisory board and the managing board from liability during the past financial years. Did GEBE have a contingency plan in the event of system equipment failure? What was the protocol to be followed? If so, what was followed and where did it go wrong? The NVGB adheres to the industry standard reliability measures known as N-2, which ensures that the power plant can withstand the simultaneous failure or maintenance of its 2 largest production units while still meeting the country's energy demand. In practical terms, this requires an operational capacity that includes the current peak demand and a contingency factor equivalent to a N-2, totaling 21 megawatt. However, delayed or in investment over recent years, coupled with economic growth and extreme heat conditions in the Caribbean and a growing infrastructure, have strained the power plant's ability to meet these requirements. Did management know the lifespan of the engines was coming, and what was the continuation plan in regard to that? Management, including previous, were aware of the lifespan and foreseeable challenges. However, there was a lack of active and proactive sound decision-making on supervisory level and shareholders level. 4. In what year was the engine situation first brought to light to the managing board, the supervisory board of directors, and the government as stakeholders? The former and first instated managing board, comprising of a CEO, CFO, and a CEO, were aware of the situation and began the procurement process in 2017. However, this process was halted due to the impact of Hurricane Irma, which imposed significant financial constraints on the company. Despite the damages incurred, the power plant continued to adhere to reliability standards, primarily due to the closure of various businesses and hotels. In 2019 and 2020, when the managing board stabilized the company, the procurement process was resumed and the necessary financing was secured to purchase these production units. However, the supervisory board of directors received advice from head internal auditor not to approve the purchase of the engines and the upgrade of the machines in GEBE. The shareholder at that time was also aware of the aforementioned initiatives. A loan was approved to purchase engines in 2020. Can the Prime Minister confirm if this is true? If so, what was the nature of the loan and was the transition completely? A loan was approved in 2020 from a local financial institution for the following: office building, 12,200,000, system application and products, 4,500,000, purchase warehouse, 1,400,000, closing costs, $510,000, totaling an amount of $18,610,000. This loan was hanging on the approval of an international financial institution. The international financial institution approved to give us a loan of $21,067,000 for a new engine and $4,400 for a solar park. However, this loan was not approved by GEBE Supervisory Board of Directors at that time. What are the bottlenecks that GEBE has been experiencing through the years that today is contributing to our current situation? The power generation infrastructure of GEBE has not been optimally maintained and upgraded. Taken together with hurricane damage and increased demands, GEBE's ability to meet power consumption has been a challenge. Question 7. Has GEBE ever informed government about the state of the generator engines and the durability of these equipments? If they have been informed, was this done in writing and can we receive a copy of this? Answer. The state of the power plant was presented to the supervisory board and directors, the shareholder company, on several occasions through presentations and tours of the facility were informed about the status of GEBE. There has been presentations from the GEBE to the supervisory board on December the 17th, 2020. Minister of Public Health, Housing, Spatial Planning, Environment and Infrastructure on Friday, February 12, 2021. Supervisory Board of Directors update on Thursday, October 13, 2022. Council of Ministers and representatives of NRPB on Wednesday, June the 28th, 2023. State Secretary Van Huffelen also received a presentation and tour on Thursday, June the 29th, 2023. 8. When last was any investment or any upgrade done to any or all the engines that are at GEBE? Can we receive the documentation supporting this, and who is responsible and how much did it cost? The series of the most reliable diesel generation sets and operating systems were commissioned and are upgraded based on the following: diesel generators set number 14 and 15, both commissioned in 2000. Diesel generators set 16 and 17, both commissioned in 2005. Diesel generators sets 18 and 19, both commissioned in 2009. Upgrade of the cooling system for diesel generator number 16 and 17 in 2015, and diesel generator set number 20, commissioned in 2016. In regard to the cooperation between GEBE and government, how is it? Is it forthcoming? There is a lack of transparency that I'm trying to mitigate by scheduling weekly meetings now with the supervisory board and management of the GEBE. Who has to give you an impression about this interaction at this particular moment in the short period that I have been here leading the government of St. Maarten? I had with the supervisory board and management of the GEBE a meeting on the 30th of May, the 7th of June, the 12th of June, the 13th of June, and with management further alone on the 20th of June, the 21st of June, and the 24th of June, 2024. Question number 5, who has the final decision when it comes to finally applying this short-term solution that is being discussed now for the public of St. Maarten? Is it government, GEBE, or is it both together? Solving the energy crisis is a collective effort which remains a holistic approach by all stakeholders, GEBE, government, and consumers. For consumers, resident visitors alike, your patience and of course tolerance speaks volumes as it's deeply appreciated. I know it's extremely challenging at this particular moment. I feel your pain daily, and it's the reason why everyone now is trying to do what they have to do for us to solve this national crisis for our country. Since the fire on June 2nd, to which load shedding was increased drastically, how frequent has government and GEBE met? How fruitful have those meetings been? I have mentioned the dates just now that I have had meetings with the supervisory board and with management just now. And due to these meetings, actually I could present today the short, the immediate, the short, and the long-term vision and action plan to solve this problem that is going on for years already by the GEBE. Possibility of some type of incentives for those that want to go on solar panels or generators. Is it also possible to have a discussion with the banks to see if something can be provided for the consumers in terms that they can get a loan or a package? Perhaps GEBE can have this done considering the situation. GEBE welcomes customers who can make investments in solar or renewable energy within the regulatory requirements. The long-term solution for GEB, that is question 20, the long-term solutions for GEB with the three engines, is it about time that we look at a different way of doing things? We can look into, for example, the engines, but also look into how we can move forward to invest in other ways of energy. For years, we have been talking about alternative energy. A lot of different organizations have done research on this. How far are these researches? What is the time of implementation? Is it feasible to also put those alternative energy production on the grid? There is a prevalent misconception that NVGB is reluctant or uninterested in transitioning to renewable and alternative energy sources. Over the past few years, several studies have been conducted to assess the feasibility of integrating various energy mixes into the company's utility grid. Some may question why these studies are ongoing without concrete decision towards this transition. The initiation of these studies is driven by advancements in technology, their efficiency, integration possibility, and feasibility. Another challenge contributing to the slow pace is the frequent changes in management and organizational instability. However, preliminary studies by Energy Nautics have indicated a promising way forward for NVGEBE. The final vision on the future renewable energy for Country Maarten will be presented by a report by Energy Nautics end of June of this year. MP Sarah Westcott-Williams, we need to accommodate the people going in to pay the bill. A designated person should be made available to handle complaints when paying the bill. GEB is reviewing the possibilities. Customer care is available online and in person. Can a clear outline of the reporting structure of GEB at this moment be provided? We have management, supervisory board. What is the structure now given the interim manager and some advisors? The company adheres to its reporting lines in which the interim manager reports to the supervisory board and the supervisory board reports to the shareholder. When is Energy Nautics supposed to give their report on GEB and renewable energy? Energy Nautics will be delivering several reports as part of their assignment. The first report is due by end of this month, as I said. Note that Energy Nautics also supported GEB in reviewing various proposals and options which may delay work by 1 or 2 weeks. What is the status of the grid market agreement? Why is this under an NDA? Are there any obligations in this context of a GEBE that the government has in its lap because of this agreement? Why can we not receive a report on grid market? The answer is, I have detected this agreement and I can provide it to the members of parliament. 5. Was any contact made with French Sint Maarten with respect to their plans, among other things, nuclear power, when it pertains to generating electricity? Was any contact made by the then government on the French side with the then government on the Dutch side? Answer, no agreements have been forthcoming from these discussions. MP Irion, Prime Minister also mentioned a few occasions that the country is bankrupt. How can you have a discussion with the Netherlands about a other loan? Will they finance the country, a bankrupt country? What type of interest rates are we looking at? Negotiations are not now ongoing, and the reason why this can happen in a financial very challenging times for the St. Maarten is that we are still in a construction in a kingdom of the Netherlands. And the Netherlands also realizes, also in my negotiations with them for a vision to future loan for the purchase of especially the 3 units, each of 14 million, they realize that whatever the financial status is of the country, it's a must because it's a threat for the safety and the livelihood of the people of St. Maarten. The 3 funds from the Netherlands were mentioned. Some of these funds don't even have the necessary legislation, so they are not yet accessible. Out of the 3 funds, or all of them, is there now current legislation in the Netherlands that allows the islands to tap into these funds? If not, then what long-term plans are we discussing? We need to be able to tap into the funds first. And that is the reason, as an answer, that we are in a discussion with the BZK for them to guide us in the process for the access to these funds. Question 3 is, GEBE is requesting the big hotels, big developers to get off the grid if they have generators that they can sustain them, or even if they have solar panels. The MP knows in the past that there was an issue with the same developers that they were asked to stay on the grid. You are going in the reverse of the former policy of GEBE. What about the individuals with the means that they're saying, I'm going to invest in my own generator, solar panel with battery? Is there any way to incentivize these individuals? The concession, as an answer, is clearly outlines that NVGEB informs large developers and hotels to comply with specific requirements. Due to the current shortfall in operational capacity, NVGEBE is requesting assistance from these large organizations, which have a backup generator to ensure that more power is available for domestic customers. This approach aims to minimize the duration and extent of load shedding, hereby providing better service to the community. We have to realize that this is a serious national power crisis for the country. MP reads some conflicting information. GEBE stated that they spoke to the government in the past about building permits and capacity. Is there a policy in GEBE, in government, that GEBE has requested officially government to send in capacity on buildings beforehand? Has GEBE indicated to government in the past that this is our capacity currently or capacity for the next coming years? Please stick within this capacity range. Did this ever happen? Is there any decision on this matter? NVGP is a government-owned company, so any projects from large investors, including hotels, or any business investment intended to boost the local economy and tourism should be shared with the sole utility company, which is also government-owned. The lack of communication between both parties is likely to create significant issues for the country, potentially deterring investors from helping us enhance our tourism product. This is crucial as we aim to hit new targets for the island in terms of annual visitors and average expenditure per visitor. Therefore, policies and procedures should be implemented within the Ministry of VROMI and NVGEBE to avoid further mishaps. We must all learn from these mistakes and ensure that they are not repeated by having prudent procedures at place. In the past, the MP said it was mentioned that we need big brand name hotels now for St. Maarten. Has this government informed the developers of Great Bay who wanted to start construction this year that there is no capacity and we won't have for the next 3 years, so they cannot start the construction? What do we do with the building permits? Are we going to revoke it? You also have an industry that pulls capacity. It's not only about large developments. Some large developments don't pull a lot of capacity, as for example warehouses. The policy needs to be based on capacity output. It is more complex than it is. It is the plan of this government to revoke these building. Is it the plan of this government to revoke these building permits, knowing that we don't have the capacity in the next 2 years forthcoming? Are we going to delay any regular building permits of houses, housing developments, etc.? Answer: government has spoken to the developers of Great Bay and informed them about the lack of capacity to produce energy. The developer indicated that they will need 2 years to build, and as a consequence, the energy production capacity should be up to par within 2 years, so this should not affect them. The developer was still encouraged to install back-up energy production capacity for its own and possibly using renewable energy within the limits and possibility of the concession. No decision has been taken to revoke at this particular moment building permits. Question 6. In documents received in answering questions from Parliament, MP wants to bring up the matter of renewable energy. It is stated that the government has approved a roadmap for the transition to renewable energy. However, the plan lacks key information from GEBE. If the government approved a roadmap for the transition to renewable energy, why can this roadmap not be shared with Parliament? Can we receive this roadmap for the transition to renewable energy? GB did give government input requirements pertaining the new to be updated energy policy back in 2019. Several meetings were held with policy advisors on this matter. Question 7 is, we have investors and developers on the ground. Will Minister Vromi revoke building permits? As I said, no building permits has been revoked. MP Otley asks, are there plans for budget amendments to be used in the CAPEX? At this particular moment, this is being discussed with the Minister of Finance. MP Jacobs, has a decision been taken or is the Prime Minister waiting on Friday based on the crankshaft situation to take a decision? As in my presentation, a decision has been taken and GB will move ahead with the containerized generators as has been presented in my PowerPoint presentation. Can a government and RGB clarify whether we have achieved or surpassed the N minus? Are we at an N minus 2? Where are we standing exactly? With the diesel generator 19 and diesel generator 8 and 9 not online, GB cannot maintain a N-1 or a N-2. There is a lack of capacity. the industry standard reliability measure known as, for example, N-2, which ensures that the power plant can withstand the simultaneous failure or maintenance of its two largest production units while still meeting the country's energy demand is not possible. What short-term impacts can we have for renewable energy instead of only focusing on fossil fuels? Did not hear anything about solar. Solar is also one that can be done within 18 months if we had started the process and identify what GB's grid needed to connect with solar. Does GB have a better insight into what is needed to transfer from fossil to other alternative energy possibilities? The strategic business plan will identify the optimal mix of renewables and non-renewables for GEBE. Solar installations will not be able to be ready within a short period of time and are therefore not an option for the urgent situation that we are in. We spoke about the 6 weeks to prepare the containers. Can this also apply to solar, to have it connected in 6 weeks? How soon solar can be incorporated into our energy distribution? No options for, the answer is no options for urgent solar is available. Solar installation takes time to design, and also the engineer, build, and commission takes time. Containerized power is the most immediate option available. Question 5 from MP Jacobs. The strategic plan that NVGB was working on through the trust fund, which indeed had to be ready in the first quarter of 2024. Has it been finalized? Is it in the line with what was already agreed upon in terms of the phases for the transition to renewable energy? The deliverables from Energynautics are scheduled over the next several weeks. The assignment was comprehensive and will cover urgent, intermediate, and long-term options. Just for clarity, the project commenced in April 2024. Question 6. The Energy and Climate Policy Work Group, is this still function in this group, and have they weighed in at all or any of these discussions? The work group is within government and includes GEBE. The Energy and Climate Policy Work Group is indeed still functioning. The work group plays a valuable role in providing insight and recommendations for the long-term energy development for Country St. Maarten. Question 7. The cost for the generators that will be ordered, will this have an impact on the consumers? How will it impact our people in St. Maarten? No, there will be no impact on the consumers here in St. Maarten. GB will absorb all costs. MP Gums. Question 1. Has there or will there be an investigation into the megawatt requirement of 3 specific areas? 1. Our existing big developments. 2. Those currently under construction. And 3. Those that are pending, thus not yet begun with breaking ground or taking down a tree or anything else. In the past, NVGB has had several meetings with the ministry to obtain such information, but parties never established general working procedures. Nevertheless, based on the recent meetings, both parties are now working together to establish a general work procedure. This will ensure that NVGB is informed of such developments in a timely manner. MP Roosberg, how much funding did GEB receive from the World Bank, and for what specific purposes were these funds allocated for? Was it a grant or a loan? The answer was provided, and the MP reads a response. What was done with the 3 million? Okay, what was done with the 3.1 million, which was intended to restore electricity services to ensure businesses and homes have reliable power? Can this be clarified? Based on the project operations manual, NVGB received a grant of 11.6 million in the past. The allocation were for restoring of electrical services, 3.1 million, increasing resilience of water systems, 7.9 million, and updating of GB business plan, 0.6 million. Question 2. Also, a formal question that was asked about the lifespan of the generator currently in use. It was mentioned that according to the standard and practices, they have a lifespan of 25 to 30 years. 3 production units, 7, 8, and 9, have reached their lifespan. Was at that time the lifespan of engine number 19 also known, or did it just happen during the period of the current Prime Minister? Diesel generator set number 19 was commissioned in 2009 and has been in operation for approximately 15 years. The failure experienced by this production unit is considered a common bearing failure. Question number 3. Also, in that same response of January 2023, the former Prime Minister mentioned that there was collaboration between NRPB and World Bank and that they were working on a plan for a solution. The plan was expected to be ready in the first quarter of 2024. Have you seen that plan? Is it ready? No, I have not seen that plan. I did not, at least. Question number 4. In regard to the current schedule, can we put out an accurate schedule so people can plan their day? Some people were not on the schedule. The answer is NVGB has implemented a load-shedding schedule which has been shared with the community through the company's Facebook page and various media outlets. However, there are several factors affecting the accuracy of the schedule, making it challenging to provide precise timings. Question number 5. On the website, there is the option of submitting a claim. Is there any leniency seeing the crisis, and is there any separate way of dealing with claims in regard to damaged goods? NVGB, as answer, has a claim policy in place, and there is only one way of filling a claim. Fill in online. GB sends a technician to the client. Technician justifies his findings, and the client is informed. We are currently monitoring the claim amount since the start of this consistent load shedding. Question 6 from MP Jacobs, asking for clarification. The MP had information that other companies reached out to assist NVGB within the kingdom, but they did not receive any reaction from GEBE. Is the Prime Minister aware of that? If not, if it can be looked into, why no answer were given to those partners within the kingdom? GB communicated with every stakeholder that presented itself. The partners that mentioned on the call that they were able to provide assistance were unable to do so. They, however, did indicate that material and manpower are a possibility. One of the islands connected us to a supplier in Miami. This supplier was part of GB's procurement process. MP Mingret. Question number 1 from MP Mingret. How often are the generators inspected and serviced from GB? In the power generation industry, manufacturer of generation equipment provide utility company with maintenance guidelines and schedule based on operating cycles. Therefore, NVGB has devised its annual preventive maintenance schedule for various diesel generators. The primary preventive schedule is based on a 1,000 operating hour cycle involving a preventive service typically completed within one business day, being 8 hours. Additionally, a comprehensive preventive maintenance schedule is carried out at every 12,000-hour cycle, during which the engine undergoes complete disassembly and all components are either reconditioned or replaced according to the manufacturer provided measurement protocols. Question number 2. Are there contingency plans in place to minimize power disruption during maintenance periods? The typical contingency plan for most utility companies, including NV GEBE, is based on the N2 reliability criteria. This means that the company ensures redundancy in its power generation system so that they can continue to operate even if two major components fail simultaneously. Implementing N-2 helps ensure grid stability and minimizes the risk of widespread power outages during unexpected events or equipment failure. However, with the lack of timely investments, NVGB presently isn't adhering to the criteria. Are there ongoing training programs to keep maintenance team updated on the latest technology and best practices? Yes, such programs are indeed in place within the company. In Phase 1, earlier last year, NVGB launched a 4-year customer loyalty program with the engine manufacturer, offering benefits such as a 6% discount on all spare parts and technical field service assistance and 2 weeks of on-set training for all power plant personnel, leading to certification. In Phase 2, the company plans to send additional personnel to the Wärtsilä Land and Sea Academy in Fort Lauderdale for official certification. Previously, no such program has been implemented. Can GEBE provide an assessment on the district area having power through underground? What is the plan moving forward on having the whole island having power through underground? Currently, GEBE has 95% of its high voltage utility underground. By end of 2025, it will be 100%. As to the low voltage, GEBE has approximately 80% underground, with the expectations to have 90% underground by the end of 2025. This is part of the Dutch funds provided via the World Bank and RPB project. MP Lacruz. Check what decisions were made, motions taken, page 2 of the National Energy Policy for Country St. Maarten, issues the actions it mentions move away from the usage of diesel and heavy fuel oils for power production. However, GB is thinking about bringing in generators. The report also mentioned LNG as an alternative to diesel and heavy fuels. Was such a study ever done, and can we have that study? The Energy Nautics report will provide insight on the short term into the optimal mix for GEBE going forward. Question 2 from Mr. Lacruz, MP Lacruz. There is a request to bring a transshipment point to St. Maarten, which literally means new money coming to St. Maarten, where we can purchase for those that are clean of fuel. There is a request to bring a transshipment point to St. Maarten, which means new money coming in for St. Maarten. Indeed, NLG is a cleaner fuel source, but to the plant capacity island demands, financially it would not be beneficial to use NLG. Energy experts have determined that LNG production under 150 megawatt is not financially beneficial for the consumers at the and at this particular moment, GB has only one engine that can optimize by the use of LNG. Who is checking when a barge of fuel finishes at Sol before the new prices are introduced? This has to be looked into. Sol Antilles and NVGB have established working procedures that prioritizes transparency. Sol Antilles NV provides NVGB with a detailed spreadsheet that includes the following information: bill of lading, volumes acquired on the international market, daily tank mutations based on NVGB's daily fuel oil offtake, and also purchase price markup based on the contractual agreement. These measures ensure clarity and accountability in the fuel acquisition process. These are the answers to the questions that has been posed. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Prime Minister, for